our base camp initiate type concept, where basically what we're trying to do are a couple of different factors with it. The first really is determining that overall vision for the future. So when you start looking at what you want to do to move to the next version of Dynamics, whether or not you're on AX 2009, 2012, RTM, R2, or R3, or even prior versions as well, really what you're looking for is what is the reason or vision for that future change that you want to have. And this topic is different by every single customer that we interact with. More specifically and pointedly, some people believe that the overall vision involves having more mobility in their business processes. Others feel that that vision is more about the ability basically to have a more modern platform to develop off of. And some look at all these different facets to really drive what that vision is going to be. I can't stress enough how really important that is in this process, because those outputs also determine kind of the pathing that you do with it. And really, as part of that vision exercise, what you should also be doing is really establishing that success criteria as part of this particular implementation or upgrade project. Obviously, success criteria can involve many different main points, right? So current functionality that's existing in D365, for example, is what you need to be successful. You don't need to have, for example, a dispatching system added on. Your functionality is not working and needs improvement. And so you identify, obviously, what those specific gaps are that are in, for example, your prior version that you think are going to be addressed with the future version as well. And then also, what are the additional changes that your business has gone through? So more specifics in terms of that functionality requirement that you may not have needed in the prior version, but maybe didn't even exist in that version as well. So that success criteria, you can kind of back up and just look at that from a business perspective point of view to start, without having technology as the real driver for those decisions. That's really a key point that I just want to identify here on this particular slide, is that success criteria doesn't necessarily need to be technology dependent. We at StoneRidge Software use technology as a tool, which means that you have a business process or challenge that you're facing. And what we want to do is we want to align the right Dynamics tool to be able to address that particular need. So for example, the upgrade might be needed to bring you more into a architecture that allows for us to use field service capabilities or Dynamics 365 field service, because that's one of your success criteria. You now have techs that are going out on site that you need to be able to take into account repairs that you're doing for your field service equipment that you may have. So that's really an important aspect here, is to really define that. The other aspect of this then, though, too, really comes to the operational perspective with it. So really identifying the team members that are part of that vision that was being generated. And those roles need to also be considered, obviously. The IT roles that are related to it, the PMO, your data analytics for the output in terms of what you're going to be reporting off of, the process designers, the subject matter experts that have that knowledge. Really what you're trying to do is document what that future vision is going to be and start preparing your team in terms of the vision team on what you're going to be doing here moving forward. And finally, obviously, the assembly of any documentation that you have to take into account what you've done in the past and why you've done it also helps drive what's going to happen in the future here, because that information is going to be used in the future as we go through this particular process. And the big thing about this is that there are opportunities for what we would classify as shortcuts, and that's that shortcut icon that we showed earlier for the symbol. Basically, if you have everything exactly the way it is, if you want to not do process improvement as part of that first iteration when you're going through an upgrade, that is one of the options that you have. Because what you could say is that there are a lot of features from the platform perspective that we get with it, but in terms of the speed that we want to go go through this process, we don't want to go through the analysis of what functionality or tools could be used other than maybe a high-level demonstration of what those capabilities are. We want to do the upgrade as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And so that is another option that can occur, where we classify that basically as a shortcut that you can really use to go through and drive that particular process.